the start to this season or from last year's finish against the Gators?
First of all, to start off feeling, 2-0, great feeling. That's our goal. We just want to take everything week by week. But based on our feelings going into Gainesville this year, obviously last year is a good, a reminder of what it feels like to beat Florida, and that's something that we want to make a little bit more routine around here. But and then obviously having the momentum from going 2-0 in the first 2 weeks carries us into the game as well. We know we have a lot to work on, a lot that we got to get better at this week in practice. So I'd definitely say that the spirits are high and we're ready to go.
How different is their defense this year from last year? I know they lost a lot of DBs and both starting linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah, they did. They lost some guys, but Florida's notorious for having a great defense, and they replaced it. Replaced the guys they lost. They played quite a few guys on the defensive line, that I've seen already. We're just going to prepare for them like we do every year. It's Florida. No matter who's out there, they're going to play to as hard as they possibly can, given the circumstances. So, in terms of what's different, I don't know if there'll be much different really in terms of personnel. Different names on the jerseys, but they have some really talented players.
Ethan, how do you and the players kind of deal with the uncertainty of maybe where the game will be played on Saturday?
It's out of our control. It's something that doesn't really affect us mentally. I think we're going into it. We're more worried about the team than where we're going to play, and don't let that fool you guys. We definitely have all the people from Florida. We have people on our team. And a couple tight ends are from Florida. They're in our thoughts and prayers, and we hope that everyone down there is staying safe. But in terms of where the game's played, we're ready to play. So wherever that may be, that's out of our control. So.
Do you have any teammates that have family from Florida that are staying with them here in a hotel here or anything like that?
Not that I know of yet, but that certainly could be a possibility with some of the guys. There's a lot of guys from Florida, so I'm not 100% sure on that question.
Is there anything different mentally with the team this year since you have the streak off your back against Florida?
No. It's Florida. That's all that you can say. And some of the young guys that are playing for us that haven't really played Florida ever are going to, we got to stress the importance of this game to them, and that it's something different. It's going to be different than anything that they've played in these first 2 weeks. And our main focus is to go out there and play as physical as possible on offense. We have to start fast and hit them in the mouth, or we don't want to get down 21-0 again like we did last year. So we're going to go out there and we're going to take it to them, I think.
It's one thing to win at home. Is there added incentive though to get a W in the Swamp?
Yeah, it's always great to go on the road and beat anybody in their home stadium, especially the Swamp. And for all the guys that have been here, I mean, really, a lot of guys in the past 10, 11 years or however long it's been since we've gone to Florida and beat them, they'll be the first for a long time, and definitely something that you would cherish. But again, no matter where the game's played, it's still a deep, traditional rivalry here that we're facing. So,
how do you prepare when they've had 9-10 suspensions in just the one game, and they may or may not have some of those guys back? Do you look back at last year's film to prepare for guys that maybe?
That's a tough question. You definitely, because you have those guys. The situation again is out of our control, so you have to prepare for it. And I would say that going back and looking at a little bit of film from last year, but just focusing mainly on who's been playing so far, and we're confident that we're a good football team. That if we have to adjust, we have to adjust. So,
how tough is that to see Eli go down? He's finally worked his way into the mix, gets a catch, and then boom, he gets hurt.
Yeah, it's tough, because I obviously see how hard he works every day to get to where he's at, and it was unfortunate for him to have to deal with this injury, but he'll be back soon enough, and hopefully won't miss a step. We're just gonna keep encouraging him to live in the training room and be back as soon as possible.
Ethan, where do you guys feel like you made the most improvement from week 1 to week 2 on offense?
On offense, I would say we clicked a little bit earlier. It took us a while to get started and get mesh versus Georgia Tech. So we came out pretty explosive. Our run game's doing really well right now, and of course it's going to be a little different opponent this week. But again, we just got to continue to get physical and need to catch every ball that's thrown on the outside. We struggled the first week with drops, and I guess we improved a little bit. We still dropped some balls, and obviously we know how imperative that is this week. So.
And you mentioned playing physical a couple times. Coach Jones, you mentioned it up there. Was that a message that he gave you guys after watching the film?
Really, we haven't met to talk about it yet. That'll come here later on today. But just from a mentality, being my fourth time playing Florida, and all the seniors and juniors and guys that have played them, that any physicality that you think is good enough, you have to bring more of it. So. It's just the game, and I'm sure that they're going to reiterate that, especially from this last week's film. But we all know that we have to bring something different this week.
Florida always has a stellar D, and it looked real stellar against Michigan. How do you prepare against a fast defense like that?
Again, you prepare for the defenses that they run and the schemes that they run, and you try and find those little ticks for each player on the defensive side of the ball. Things that can give you tips in the game, and that's what makes good players great players, is finding that stuff and relentless film study. But then again, they're fast and we're fast too, so it's all about who wants it more. We can block and we can catch and run routes on all those guys. We just got to go out there and show the will to do it.
Ethan, what's required of the quarterback position? You play a neutral site game, you play a home game. When you go on the road for the first time, what are the kind of things that you look for from your quarterback in a situation?
No matter where you're playing, from your quarterback, you always want composure and just we have the utmost confidence in both those guys, and it's going to be different going to the Swamp, and it's a bit of a change. It's going to be loud on third downs, whereas home games it's not as loud. So. The biggest thing is composure and confidence in those guys, and we're going to help them every step of the way.